Hello and welcome back to Cop Noise TV. In this show we are looking at the build-up between Liverpool's next fixture at home to Burnley. It's a Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff as well, which is completely unheard of for Liverpool these days. We never get Saturday 3 o'clock kickoffs, never mind any at home, and I'm absolutely gutted that I'm not able to get to this game. I'm having to give my ticket sadly to someone else because I physically can't make it to the game. But listen, enough of all that. Quick question for you: have you subscribed to my channel? If you haven't, don't worry about it, but please do me a favour, get over to the homepage and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future content. Right, let's get into the video. Let's have a look at the opposition review, and this week it is Burnley Football Club. As we know, Burnley are obviously struggling a little bit at the moment. They're currently sat 19th in the league, 8 points adrift of safety as well. So they've got a bit of an uphill battle on their hands at the moment to try and get out of that relegation zone. Looking at Burnley's current record, they've not won in their last 13 games, and in that period alone they've only taken 3 points. So the stats are a little bit damning for Burnley at the moment. However, the last time out they played in the FA Cup, they did manage to put 5 past Championship side Millwall, and that's then set them up nicely for a home draw against Mansfield Town in the next round. Now, when I do these opposition reviews, I like to do my due diligence, I like to do my research, because obviously, ultimately, you guys want to know some facts about Liverpool and also about who we are playing. And also, I always want to look at areas in which the opposition can hurt us, whether it's set pieces like Arsenal, whether it's individual players, I don't know, Haaland for Man City, you know what I mean. And with Burnley, it was interesting actually, because as much as they're sat second to bottom from the league, as I say, 8 points adrift, they actually do carry an attacking threat. Because when I looked at Burnley's season as a whole, out of their 21 games they've played in the league this season, only 7 of those games they've not managed to score. They've drawn a blank, if you like, which for a team who are sat in the doldrums of the table, potentially facing relegation, it's quite rare, really. So Liverpool just need to be careful because, as I say, Burnley do cause a threat going forward. And I've not seen much of Burnley this season, but I did actually watch their game against Man United the other night, and it was a great game to watch. Obviously, 2-2 draw, great for the neutrals, always great to see Man United dropping points. But one player that I enjoyed watching in particular was a player that I'd never heard of before, is Marcus Edwards. As I say, I watched the game in midweek, and I thought he was brilliant in the second half. He always wants the ball. He always wants to get in between those little pockets in between the defence and attack. Always looking to get on the half turn, and just an all round. He had a lovely balance to his play. I bet that's one of the biggest things that I can kind of compliment him on. That when he carries the ball, he has a nice balance. He reminds me a little bit of Adam Lallana, where he'll happily kind of check back if he's not got any options going down one side. He looked comfortable on the football, and I find that rare with players these days. A lot of players like to just kind of tick over with the stats in terms of completed passes and possession and things like this, whereas he wasn't scared to carry the ball. He wasn't scared to receive the ball, always looking to go forward, always looking to cause a threat. And I think he actually ended up playing a through ball to set up Anthony Edwards for Burnley's equaliser. So definitely one that Liverpool need to they need to just be wary of when he's picking up those little spaces in between in the midfield and the defence. Another one which causes a threat as well is Jadon Anthony, which I just mentioned about. He scored a lovely goal against Man United. He bent one into the top corner. He's currently their leading goal scorer, albeit he is only on 6 goals in all comps. I think 5 in the league. Although this isn't mind-blowing statistics, he is a man for the big occasion by the looks of it, because he's scored against Man United home and away, and he's scored against Man City as well this season. So he obviously likes turning up against the so-called bigger teams, if you like. So Liverpool just need to be careful, especially with those two players. I think they've got Armando Broja as well, Burnley, you guys are probably more familiar with when he kind of was in and out of the Chelsea team over the last couple of years. But to me, he doesn't pose that much of a threat, and I think he's only scored 2 goals this season, so that tells you all you need to know about Burnley's attacking threats. Right, let's have a look at how we fare up in terms of head-to-heads. Now, in the reverse fixture earlier in the season at Anfield, Liverpool got the win, albeit we scraped a 1-0 win in the 95th minute, if you remember rightly. Those were the joyous days at the beginning of the season where we were scoring late goals for fun. Wasn't a great game to watch, can't lie, but listen, 3 points with 3 points, who am I to grumble about that? Looking back through the archives, however, in terms of the fixture at Anfield between these two sides, Liverpool pretty much have a stronghold over Burnley at Anfield, and in the last 10 years, Burnley have only taken 4 points off us, earning a draw in 2020, and then for those of you who will remember, Liverpool were on an unbeaten run at the time. This was in 2021 now, and Burnley actually ended that unbeaten run. I think it was through COVID when we either had no fans or minimal fans in the ground. But yeah, we lost that day, losing a 68 home game unbeaten run to Burnley, and of all players to score, it was Ashley Barnes who I think scored the penalty that day, and I fucking can't stand Ashley Barnes. He's one of those players that you would hate to play against. He's all fucking arms, knees, elbows, not a pretty player to watch, and anyone else I would have had scored that day but him. But listen, it is what it is, but Burnley don't really tend to come to Anfield and get anything from Liverpool. Now, speaking about Liverpool, we are on an 8-game unbeaten run in the league. However, the flip side of this is we've drawn our last 3 fixtures in the league. So, I'm saying slightly concerning, but Liverpool need to change this now. They need to change those draws into wins, and especially when you're looking at the last 3 fixtures, I think it was Leeds, Fulham and Arsenal. I'll come to the Arsenal game in a minute, but we should be beating teams like Leeds at home, especially. We should have beaten Fulham. How we scored in the 94th minute and then conceded in the 96th minute, something like that. Should have probably taken all 3 points that day. So yeah, Liverpool we need to get back to winning ways, because we've been cut slightly adrift of 3rd place, which is Aston Villa, who are, I think they're potentially 8 points. I think they're 8 points above us now. However, depends on where you want to look at it, because Man City and Villa actually are on the same points and they're only separated by goal difference. So although yes, we are 8 points off 3rd, we are technically only 8 points off 2nd as well. So if your glass is half full, we're 8 points off 2nd. If your glass is half empty, we're 8 points off 3rd. I'll let you choose how you want to view the statistics. And as I say, I want to speak a little bit about last time out against Arsenal, especially in the league, because I felt proud to be a Liverpool fan that day. I felt that the players and the manager week in, week out were coming under scrutiny for their performances, and quite rightly so. Liverpool were poor, they were stale, they were slow, they had no rhythm to the game, they had no patterns of play. In the first half, Arsenal came at us, as you would expect, being the home side, being the league leaders, the best attack in the league and best defence in the league. Arsenal were going to come and try show us up, if you like, and bar maybe 1 or 2 times Arsenal got round our full-backs, once on the right and once on the left. I thought, all in all, in the first 20-25 minutes, Liverpool, although we gave up possession and we sat back and we defended deep, we did all right. We didn't give many clear-cut chances, if any, away, really. And then Liverpool were brave on the ball, and in the second half, we came into our own. And this is what I want to see now from Liverpool, because it's it's okay when we're criticising the players, but the players actually were brave against Arsenal, and especially in midfield where we had McAllister, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai getting the ball, receiving them in pockets on the half turn. I dare say Alexis McAllister had his best game in a Liverpool shirt this season away at Arsenal, maybe even Ryan Gravenberch for that matter as well. My biggest thought process behind that is because they were brave on the ball. They were receiving balls in tight areas, playing cute little 1-2s round the corners in little triangles, and I won't say Arsenal couldn't get near us in that second half, but they didn't have an answer for what we were trying to do. And I've said all along, we were a striker short in my eyes. If anyone who's seen my instant match reaction to that game, we were a striker short of taking all 3 points in that game. So I want to see more of that from Liverpool. I want to see Liverpool being brave on the ball. Obviously, we've got a couple of players back now from injury. Obviously, we've lost a couple of players. I'll have a look at that in a second. But I imagine that Burnley are probably going to play a low block against us. And this is where Liverpool have struggled, or well, are struggling in terms of breaking low blocks down. And for me, we need to move the ball a little bit quicker. We need to use our wingers a little bit better. I think Jeremy Frimpong has allowed us to have a bit more of a different outlet rather than just going down the left-hand side with Cody Gakpo all the time, because he's becoming very predictable and a little bit frustrating in recent weeks. So yeah, for me personally, I would just like to see in this game, because I imagine Burnley will play the low block, Liverpool just moving the ball quicker and maybe attacking from wide areas rather than trying to go down the middle all the time and expecting Florian Wirtz to come up with a moment of magic. Looking at the players who have got available for Liverpool, obviously we've got long-term injuries to Isak, Giovanni Leone and now sadly Conor Bradley, whose season is pretty much done. We do have players coming back, so Wataru Endo was back on the bench in the FA Cup tie to Barnsley earlier in the week, and as much as, yes, this doesn't really pose much of a benefit in terms of a starting 11, at least we're adding a little bit more strength in depth off the bench, because I think we can all agree in recent months gone by, Liverpool's strength in depth off the bench hasn't been great, and the likes of Welity Lucky and Trey Nyone have found themselves on the bench, and I think we even had two goalkeepers. I think Freddie Woodman was on the bench at Arsenal, correct me if I'm wrong there, but yeah, so getting players back, whether it's adding strength in terms of the starting lineup or strength off the bench, is only a good thing for Liverpool. In terms of looking at players that potentially could be out, I don't know the fitness updates on Federico Chiesa and Rio Wingamoa. Both of those players had to come off in the FA Cup tie earlier in the week to Barnsley. I'm recording this video before Arne Slot's press conference, so therefore I don't know the severity of those injuries. So with that all being said, let us have a look at what I think Arne Slot will do in terms of a starting 11 for Liverpool. So I think Liverpool's team pretty much picks itself now, as we've just alluded to the players that are injured. So I don't think Arne Slot has got that many options to rotate, if I'm perfectly honest, and I'll go into a little bit more detail in a second. Alisson Becker will obviously play in goal. In terms of left back, I think Milos Kerkez comes back in. I think that's his shirt now. He's playing really well. What I would say now is I would like to see more of an attacking threat from Kerkez. I think in terms of stability as a defender, I think he's come up against some really tricky opponents, and especially Bukayo Saka last time out, and Noni Madueke for that matter, and I think he stood tall against both of them, and I think he had an absolutely great game. And I think one thing for me now is I would just like to see a little bit more going forward from Kerkez, a little bit more overlapping runs with Gakpo or whoever plays on that left-hand side, and a better quality of a ball as well. I think there was a chance in the first half against Arsenal where we brought the press, I think, for the first time. Maybe Kerkez got forward into a really decent crossing option, and his cross was it was just poor. And those occasions, especially against the likes of Arsenal, where you don't break the press that often. When you do, the final ball, the final decision has got to be a good one. So that's where I think Milos Kerkez can improve. But yes, Andy Robertson played against Barnsley, so I think it's Kerkez comes back into the team. Two centre-halves pick themselves. Virgil van Dijk and Ibu Konate will start this game. I think it's safe to say that Ibu Konate is on his way out of the club now, so Liverpool need desperately to be exploring options at centre-back to replace him. Right-back is one where Liverpool, you might say, do have options. You've got Jeremy Frimpong there. Obviously, Conor Bradley's out now. Joe Gomez is back. And I actually think Joe Gomez will play this game. Excuse me. As I said earlier, Jeremy Frimpong, I think, gives us potentially more going forward. Not that there's anything wrong with Jeremy Frimpong as a defensive option. I think he gives Liverpool a threat going forward. He's got 2 or 3 assists in the last month. He got a goal the other night against Barnsley, and what a goal it was. So for me personally, I think Jeremy Frimpong needs to be looked at, especially while Mo Salah is still at AFCON. He needs to be used more as an attacking option than a defensive option, especially when we have got Joe Gomez as cover to use there. Midfield, I'm going for Ryan Gravenberch in the 6. I think Alexis McAllister and Dominic Szoboszlai will accompany him in that midfield. I'm looking for Curtis Jones. I think he will sit this one out, and especially the fact that he started against Barnsley, that may be a telltale sign that McAllister will start this one, because I think it's either a toss-up between McAllister and Curtis Jones in that midfield alongside Dominic Szoboszlai and Ryan Gravenberch. And I think given that Jones started against Barnsley and McAllister came off the bench, Alexis McAllister will get the nod to start this game. And then up top, I'm going for Jeremy Frimpong. I'm going for Cody Gakpo. Sorry, no, I'm not. Correct me, I'm not. I'm going for Jeremy Frimpong. I'm going for Florian Wirtz. I ain't leaving Florian Wirtz out. Sorry, Florian. My bad for that one. I fucking love that guy. I cannot express to you how much I think he's just going to be one of the best players. If he stays at Liverpool for longevity, he potentially could go down as one of Liverpool's best ever players. I'm putting that out there now. He could do. I think he's that good. I think the ceiling that he has got to his talent it far exceeds many others that have kind of come and gone through that door at Anfield, and I love watching this guy play. And he came off the bench the other night, changed the game, got a goal, got an assist. Florian Wirtz, I love you. And then I think Hugo Ekitike, another player that we have got coming back from injury, I think he will start up top, and we need him to start up top because he's an exciting watch. He's a player in form. Like I say, he got the goal against Barnsley off the bench the other night, and I dare say him and Wirtz are starting to form a little bit of a partnership. You can see with how they kind of celebrated with each other with those 2 goals. Ekitike with the little flick for Wirtz's goal, and Wirtz with a cut across the box for Ekitike's goal. And like I say, when they embrace and celebrate, you can see that they're building something. There's a friendship there, and that needs to continue, because these 2 are going to be carrying the flag for Liverpool in terms of attacking options for the rest of the season. So Slot needs to keep playing them 2 whilst they are fit and available, and keep developing that relationship. That is my predicted starting 11. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below in terms of a score prediction. I'm optimistic about this one. I think Liverpool will turn up in this game, and I think Liverpool win by 3-0. I think Wirtz continues his purple patch and gets on the score sheet again, and I think Hugo Ekitike will get a brace. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Don't forget to smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't done already. Catch you in a bit.